Okay, since I got some new information today, I wanted to include this. One, so I don't forget it, and two, in case something ever does happen to me, I wanted people to have this information also. Anyways, I'm going to call this part 6A to the Mackyard incident because this is a short update to part 6. All right, if you recall in part 6, when we were going through some of the information on Mackyard and looking at specific reports that were mentioned as other related yard incidents that happened in Macmillan Yard and that had to do with belt pack operations. Um, the first of those was on March 19th of 2007, and there was a supervisor involved in this particular incident. And when we looked up that report online, the red arrow here on the bottom shows that that report was missing. So I placed a call and I sent a formal request online via their form to the Transportation Safety Board. I also called and left a message saying that I was looking for this report that is missing. And so this guy called me back today, which is, let's see, today's the 16th of September 2025. So he called me back and he said that the March 19th, 2007 incident report number is R07T as in Tom 000076, and that it is considered classified and must be requested via an access to information request. So why am I so not surprised? If the Mackyard incident revealed what it revealed as far as fake qualifications, uh, and what the conductor trainee Jason Clooney report revealed as far as, um, an entire death cover-up and matters of violations of so many laws by Transport Canada and the rail carriers, and that this has been going on for years. What do we think that a classified report would show? I bet you when I request this, and I will, that it will pretty well be all blanked out. Um, because boy, they probably don't want me doing this kind of analysis on something that may be even worse than the Mackyard report pertaining to the incident of September 17th, 2007, which has been the subject of my series on the Mackyard incident. But looks like I might need to expand that series to include a couple more reports based on the information, hopefully, that I will get back. Hopefully it won't be all blanked out like a lot of the other stuff I've received. But anyways, I will be requesting those. But in case something ever happens to me, I don't want people beating their, head against the wall and wondering what these report numbers are. So since I have them, I thought I would share them. But I will definitely be requesting these reports. Okay, no surprise. Likewise, the second report for an incident that happened in Mackyard on November 18th of 2008. That report, as we saw previously in part 6, was also missing online. And no surprise to me, that one is also classified, and I'll have to request that via an access to information request. That report number, though, I was told is R08T0302. I did not know that reports for railway incidents could be classified and completely hidden from the public. We're paying for these reports. And given the problems with Mackyard, as revealed, especially in that 2007 incident, which is the subject of this entire series, the one that showed the fake qualifications for the belt pack incident where the guy had less than 50% of training, I have to wonder, what in the world would these two classified reports tell us about Mackyard incidents involving belt pack and belt pack training? And again, folks, these would have been under then Chief Operations Officer Keith Creel at CN Rail. He became Chief Operations Officer in February of 2007. So both of these incidents would have fell under Keith Creel, the man who is now the CEO of CPKC. I think we all would like to know what may be getting hidden by Keith Creel during his time at CN Rail. Maybe it's just me, but it seems to me that Keith Creel has a real issue with stuff being disclosed. When they had the Field BC derailment on, I believe it was February 4th, 2019, where 3 rail workers were killed in a mountainous region, they were forced to get onto a train that had been sitting in extreme cold for more than 2 hours. They were in a mountainous region, basically had no air pressure. And they tried to take this train down this hill. And the train, I covered the Field BC incident in another one of my videos, but I touch on it briefly, and I give you the speeds they were going at versus what they should have been going at. I think they were supposed to be maybe doing 15 or 20 miles an hour, and I think they derailed at 56. So, they had no brakes. But when that incident happened and all 3 crew members were killed, the locomotive engineer, the conductor, and the conductor trainee, there was a CP police officer / investigator who leaked to the press that he thought there was a cover-up going on. Why would I not be surprised to see the name Keith Creel potentially associated with a cover-up? Maybe in these 2 incidents also. Just saying, that's my opinion, folks. You're free to form your own. But given Keith Creel is now a big CEO at CPKC, again, I bet all American rail workers would love to know what might be hidden in these 2 other reports. Why were they classified? What is Transport Canada hiding? Keith Creel went on to work for CP, but at the time of these incidents, he worked at CN Rail. Macmillan Yard is a CN Rail facility, and these incidents happened when he was Chief Operations Officer at CN Rail. So, there you have it. 2 report numbers, which I'll be requesting the information on these reports, and I won't be surprised if they come back completely blanked out. But, given all the information being disclosed as far as problems in the rail industry and the massive liabilities, and the fact that so many of these players are now in the U.S., I wouldn't be surprised to see a class action originating in the U.S. And so, and I would gladly help provide materials for such a class action, provided there's no settling out of court, of course, because we need to set proper precedents for rail workers and for the rail industry. That is my one big condition. But I did most certainly want to provide these 2 report numbers, because something ever happens to me, you never know. Last year, no, it would have been this past spring, actually. I had a tire come off my car at 60 miles an hour. I thought I was going to die. The flames in the back of my car were pretty long. I thought the whole tank was going to blow, man. But God had other plans. And so I'm still here, still fighting the good fight, and trying to help rail workers on the front lines. Because all of this overhaul of how things are done in the rail industry is so long overdue. Somebody needs to help our frontline rail workers. And that's not just me. That needs to be rail investors, rail customers. All frontline rail workers need to, get on board with these issues, and especially their family members. Because boy, when your loved one dies in the rail industry, you can be sure that Transport Canada is not going to be there for you. And the same thing for the, Transportation Safety Board and the Occupational Health and Safety Tribunal of Canada. The death of conductor trainee Jason Clooney certainly exposes that fact. And I think a lot of these other reports expose those types of facts too, as do these videos on, the total, in my opinion, criminal negligence, not only of rail carriers, but of Transport Canada, which has also been violating the Railway Safety Act by not making sure that all changes to frontline rail worker training programs were actually going through proper procedures via Transport Canada. Why are we surprised to see? I never in a million years would have guessed that a railway investigation report could be classified and completely kept from the public. And here we don't have one, we have two. Wow, what could those reports reveal about rail operations, fake qualifications, and on and on and on. Man, my interest is certainly piqued. But anyway, so that's where that issue lies, folks. And I guess we'll go from here. Okay, so this is going to end my very short Part 6A, an update to Part 6 of the 2007 Backyard Incident series. And man, I found this to be most enlightening. Never in a million years would I have guessed that reports pertaining to rail incidents can be kept completely off the record. How many off-the-record reports are out there that might show how much worse things really are? Do we honestly think there might only be two? Boy, I tell ya, this opens up a whole new can of worms as far as I'm concerned. And if there was a lawsuit, and I hope to God that there is a lawsuit against the government of Canada in these issues in order to protect rail workers in both Canada and the U.S. And I hope that lawsuit starts in the U.S. But I got to tell you, I would be definitely requesting every single classified report that has been totally hidden from the public, paid for by taxpayers, but totally hidden from the public. Man, how much worse can things really be? That's an absolutely huge issue. So stay tuned for more.